to be on the other side of the road where typically it might be a little bit cleaner. How is that going to balance out between Shane and Brock off the front row of the grid, the Red Bull Ampol Racing cars at the front? So, all clear now for our start. Mark Winterbottom and David Reynolds occupy the second row of the grid. Yesterday, Van Gisbergen prevailed from 5th to make it a win. Can he make it back-to-back now for our second race in Tasmania as the lights change and a ripping start? Great jump by Brock Feeney, and he might lead into turn 2. Not might, he will. Feeney, Van Gisbergen, great start. Reynolds has jumped up into 3rd position. Winterbottom's tucked in behind him, and Feeney's already opened up some car lengths on the run down to the hairpin. This might be the day that he generates his very first supercar podium.
What a great start by Brock Feeney. First time that he's led one of these races, 3 abreast as they're bumping each other into turn 4. That was Scott Pye, and I think it's Nick Percat now on board. That's Chaz Mostert with Kostecki, I think. And look at the gaggle of cars, Neil. Wow.
Pye on the inside, car number 20 in the Seiko entry. And it's a block of supercars on the run into the left-hander at turn 6 on a cold tyre. Pye prevails from Waters in that group. And then Nick Percat's on the outside. It can be very dirty around there.
Oh, who's in the fence?
One of the truck assist cars has gone heavily into the wall down there on the exit of turn 7.
This will be safety car.
And Heimgartner's involved in it as well. This will trigger the safety car. We've had a low probability of the safety car in recent times, and this will bunch up the field. Big damage for LeBrock.
Oh, and he's on the front row of the grid for the next race. That's a lot of damage.
He may not be now.
No, exactly.
So let's hope that all is okay there. So we've got 2 cars off the edge of the road between turns 6 and 7. That's right up against the pit wall there. They're protected by the tyre barriers, and solid impact for Jack LeBrock. Great to see Jack out of the car and okay.
Yeah,
and Heimgartner in the R&J batteries entry.
Maybe drivable, I don't know.
So he's not leaping out in a hurry in case that can be resurrected and get him back out there. So Jack's on his way back, and we'll unpack the incident to understand what's gone on there.
And his poor starts, that was one of them. Now, this is the gaggle of the cars that we were commenting on. Now, who contacts who? Now, Jack LeBrock and Heimgartner have made wheel-to-wheel contact, and then bang, off the road they go.
Yeah, so it's an interlock.
I think it is, isn't it?
Yeah, I think they've just ended up just jammed on each other's wheels. And so LeBrock just carting Heimgartner out there. He's actually gone in pretty heavily there. Thankfully, those tyres have done the job. And one of our marshals, I think, is also just trying to escape the scene, has tripped over the fence down there. So this is the view from the WAU car. So, yeah, so steering damage, I'd say, almost instantaneously for LeBrock. Then he's not able to steer the car. And the reaction inside the Brad Jones Racing garage, great frustration for them. The expectations were high this weekend because Heimgartner in the early practice sessions yesterday was very quick. So a lot of damage on car number 34 throws up the question of what happens with that car now for the second of the sprint races this afternoon, where Jack had qualified very well, and that's Heimgartner in car number 8, hoping that he can be dragged out of there.
Now, there'll be 2 schools of thought here. Heimgartner will be thinking that he needed room to race and was going to try to run around the outside of LeBrock, and Brad Jones looking on. And then on the other side, Jack LeBrock would have been also thinking that he's on the inside around the big fast left-hander and should have had room to race there too. So the 2 of them have, in a clumsy way, made wheel-to-wheel contact. And then once those 2 cars have interlocked, straight off the road. But as you can see, and you can see it by the forces, that right-hand front's gone in very hard. That might have even bent a chassis rail based on that one.
This is going to take a while to clean up. Because that car's deeply embedded in that tyre wall down there, so they're going to have to extract that and get it onto the flatbed truck. So that's the view inside Motorsport Australia Race Control. Right down the end of the line is the new race director, and he's just controlling ops down there at the moment as the recovery.
Personnel, red flag, this race has been suspended. The race has been suspended.
Voice of James Taylor. So they're going to just park up for a moment while they just recover these vehicles down there.
No more weaving, no more stop-starting in terms of braking or accelerating. And when the green flag comes out, he'll be notified, and then he will control the start. That's a yellow flag there still. Listen for this.
Safety car in pit lane, mate.
Safety car in pit lane, green flag. Brock's got control. They gapped him. That's a shocking restart, David Reynolds.
just getting jumped in turn 6. So Shane was stalking Brock at the restart. Feeney heads off down towards the hairpin now, as we've got green flags all around the racetrack. Awesome speed shot, just shows how hard they push through turn 3. Shane tries to stick the nose up the inside of his teammate. He's stalking him at the moment. It's about 3 to 4 car lengths back to David Reynolds, and then pretty much the same gap back to Mark Winterbottom in 4th position. On board now with Van Gisbergen through the right-hander at turn 5. Brock covers him.
He moved it over on purpose.
And then the dive down the inside by Van Gisbergen, and he makes it stick. Brock spots him and sits it up a bit higher, and they cross over positions with ease. So he jinked one way and then got exposed as they got closer to the corner.
Yep, sold him the dummy. Flick to the right and then fired down the inside.
To assist you, a message has been sent on the land that confirm a car cannot commence at CPS until it has commenced lap 8 on the circuit.
Okay, so that's
lap 11 on the circuit.
Yeah.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was busy selling lap 11 and then...
in the background, Jake Kostecki.
Heavy hit with the wall, and that was a big one. That will have given that a pretty nasty whack, and Jack Smith is the other car involved. Damage, big damage. That's 2 from Brad Jones Racing now with substantial damage.
He caught that in the back of shot. Brad Jones has gone, oh my God, can this day get any worse? Have a look at how much buffeting that left-hand front wheel is doing. Now, this is the story of it. Jake's very wide. Jack's come down. There's now 3 cars involved. McCauley's on the inside, so he's got damage too. And lock limited. So he was fully on the lock stops trying to get round the inside. 3 into effectively 1 on the exit. Does not go there. And why are they changing the left-hand tyres in that car?
I don't know. I did a double take there.
They just changed the left-hand tyres.
Oh, troubles here. Big trouble. They couldn't pluck that wheel nut out. So that's costly for Will Davison, and it's just a struggle to now get that seated and locked up. Valuable time burnt for Will Davison. That was a shocker.
Yeah, he will not be smiling in that cockpit right now.
22 seconds to the right rear delay.
And a lap gone.
Wow.
Just obviously as this thing unfolds,
teams,
how
15-second time penalty to car 55, pit lane speed infringement.
Thomas Randall. So he just came into the lane, so he must have exceeded crossing the inbound line. Feeney, in, out, done. So 15 seconds for Thomas Randall.
He probably had to do that. Feeney had to do that for David Reynolds, because here comes Reynolds.
Yeah. They're just protecting that position for the undercut, and it's worked well.
Got by Reynolds. And that was a nice execution. Good battle here with Slade versus Waters. In behind is Scott Pye.
Now, Will Davison's done the fastest lap of the race now at a 51.8. And as I said before, he's still tangled up with that traffic out there. So there's a bit of a decent battle unfolding here, because Waters is not skipping away from Slade. He's having to cover him a little bit on the run into turn 6 there.
In fact, he's slowing Slade down. Slade's got better pace than Cam at the moment.
And despite having the back of the bumper and the diffuser damaged on the cool drive entry, that time for the fastest lap that Will Davison's done is about 0.6 of a second away from the lap record still held by Mark Winterbottom as these guys battle their way up into the hairpin. Scott Pye's in the Seiko entry, just tucked in behind. Now Winterbottom's just come into the lane as well, leaves Van Gisbergen and Mostert out there. So the best part of 3/4 of the field have now taken their stop as Slade looks to make a move here and get some side draft benefit. And he's right up against the edge of the road on the white line, but he's ideally positioned now for the left-hander. Oh no, he just lost a little bit of ground. He's run it wide, and this is a monster. So this is a horrible moment for Slade, and he's gone across the front of the other cars and not hit another vehicle. That is a miracle.
Well, they would have known he was off, so they would have propped up. That could have been a monstrous accident. My goodness me. We've all felt it out there at times on the dirty side of the road where it's an easy flat-on racing line, but when you've got aero disturbance and you're on the dirty line, how did he get away with that? And he's back on the racetrack. And yeah, I reckon Cam's as the two cars have got close, Cam's escorted him as wide as possible. He started back there. Obviously, they're bumping the whole way. So now Cam's got him right up to the white line. You made the point. Then they get through here, and then he runs it. They've actually had a bump there, then another bump, and then out into the weeds. Have a look how the car comes off the ground. That would have been 250 kilometres an hour.
There was a secondary touch, and it was lucky that Waters didn't rotate round the front of him. Now, if they trip over the curb in the middle of all that, you've got cars scattered everywhere in an aeroplane crash. But he got away with it, thankfully. Oh, no damage done. But note that Waters is not down on the inside of the road on that other angle that we had. He did have him held up nice and high here, and that is a scary moment. It launches, it's airborne. Can't see where he's going. Brakes are clamped. The rest of the mob can see it, thankfully. And look at the witness marks on the road. He had his foot jammed on that pedal.
Sorry, Neil. This will be the best shot. Watch
pit
this.
Lane drive-through penalty to car 6 for a driving infringement.
Waters driving infringement for... What the giveaway was there was how far to the left of the road Cam was from that white line. So he's going to have to tour the pit lane now. The driving standards advisor, Craig Baird.
Holdsworth down the inside of Cam Waters. Waters is now in through the pit.
One more. Swing across now. Centre on the board, please.
Mostert's in as well.
Nice communication, Mark Dutton. Very calm.
It's going to be good to go.
Nice style.
Excellent.
That's better than anything I think we've seen.
Where's he pop out?
He's going to get snipped.
He's going to get snipped for sure. So Brock's got him. There he is. That's the margin. So Brock Feeney now consolidating from where he started this motor race when he dropped the clutch at the very beginning. He's back in the lead and in the box seat to be able to convert with 17 laps remaining. But Shane's got younger tyres on. How aggressive does he now play? We saw some amazing moves from Shane van Gisbergen yesterday. Maximum attack at every interval. And he came from 5th on the grid to win the race. And now he's got to try and put a move on his teammate, which we've already seen him do once in this race, down the end here in the run into turn 6. Now, I suspect that Brock might be a bit wiser this time as well in terms of the cover down there, if in fact they do decide to make a bit of a fist of it down there. A little bit of extra grip for the first few laps really helps the cause.
He's got pace.
He has.
Absolutely. And not only that, if you have a look at all the numbers, he's up 11 now. So in the whole of the field, he and Will Brown have been the standouts.
Turns down shallow and he's going to do it again. In fact, he's going to clear him by the time he pulls second gear out the other side there. So that's got beautiful drive off the corner there now. So Adam De Boro, the engineer for this car, also through further changes at it. It was interesting, Adam's remarks were, our strength has always been the turn and squirt racetracks, of which this is really one, and we haven't been as good at the open corner tracks.
I want to just quickly show you down here at Mattstown Racing. There's Matt there. He's into it just like his dad would have been when they've had similar instances. Now, we can see now the good thing is they've turned the corner. The cars apart. They're starting to put things back together. My big concern, though, is, I don't know if you can see, there is a bar, one of the bits of bar. We can see the little kink in through there. They're going to be able to fix it. There you go, Matt said it's all right. So I've just asked the boys, I reckon they're better than 50% chance at getting this out there. I hope they do. This will be a great story.
It is a great story. Great effort by everybody down there, led by Matt Stone. Lee Holdsworth off on the run up the back straight. Lee's been making steady progress with that car as well, and we've got Thomas Randall pointing in the wrong direction. Bryce Fullwood has played a role in that somewhere along the line.
He has done that not by himself.
I'm stuck in the ditch.
There's a Castrol Mustang. Yeah, this is probably your safety car, huh?
Yep.
So I think we will be able to capture this for you, that there might have been a bit more at play here, because you don't rotate yourself in there. I've actually been in that spot there, young man.
Your former world champion might have helped you into that position once, and you took it so well. Yeah, you handle it. I was actually next to you in the pit lane at the time, and you calmly had a conversation with Alan Jones. It's good. We all thought it was fun.
And Scafie, I can confirm I've been in that spot too. Only difference is no one helped me.
That a wise decision's been made. I'm hearing that because it's out of harm's way in a low-speed location, well off the racing track, they're going to press on and leave that car of Thomas Randall's parked up there, and we'll just go green to the end.
Here's Mostert. This is going to be great. 2 laps remaining. He's right in behind David Reynolds. Can he put a move on to get onto the podium, Chaz Mostert?
This has been a storming performance, and it's very impressive because typically it's not an easy thing for a turnaround mid-weekend. Often in this game, and it's been this way for a long time, when you start bad, you finish bad. So for them to be able to turn around mid-race meeting and recover from where they qualified and to be back in this threatening position now, that's pretty impressive, isn't it?
Well, it's a good result also for David Reynolds, because he's not very far away from Brock Feeney. He's only 1.2 seconds behind Brock Feeney, so he's hung in really well.
Fight 16th, Chaz Mostert, and he's knocking on the door potentially here for a podium. So, car number 97, Shane Van Gisbergen, just been extraordinary in his performances at Symmons Plains, and he has done it again. 2 from 2 in Tassie for Shane.
Good job.
Chaz didn't get there in the end, but that was an impressive performance. And what about Brock Feeney? First ever main game Supercars podium. That is mega. Second event in the Repco Supercars Championship. The young fella's never been to this racetrack before in anything, and Red Bull have pulled off a 1-2. That's a pretty special moment for them, and big celebrations in the background also for David Reynolds and for Grove Racing.
Well done, Brock Feeney. Fantastic for David Reynolds to get onto the podium. What a great drive by Mostert to come through the field.
Good news stories up and down there when you see so many people enjoying their performances this afternoon. So for Red Bull and for 888 Race Engineering, a 1-2. And we've become accustomed to the success of Van Gisbergen. But for Brock Feeney, new to the team, filling in the big shoes of Jamie Whincup to get onto the podium in his 4th supercar event, or 4th race, I should say, 2nd event. That's really impressive. Great job for David Reynolds. Big moment for Grove Racing and for Stephen and Brenton Grove to be able to achieve that. For Chaz Mostert, can't say enough about the recovery for he and Adam at car number 25. Anton De Pasquale, solid performance from Winterbottom Pike, Courtney Holdsworth and Hazelwood.